Hello everybody and welcome to this second part of how to create beautiful solo cocktail piano arrangements at the piano. We're going to get right into it. I got a lot to cover today. Hopefully the video today is going to cooperate and it won't go blurry on me. I have tested it a couple of times today and everything seems to be working fine, so hopefully everything is good. If for any reason it does get blurry, don't worry. I'm recording it over here in high definition and I will upload that if need be. I'm going to be answering your questions as well, so be sure to stick around because I'll answer your questions at the end. Let's jump right in. All right, so first of all, before we get going with new material, all right, and by the way, if you have any trouble seeing me or hearing me, go ahead and write in any comments and then we'll see what we can do. All right, so before we get into new material, let's just review the four fundamentals that we were talking about in the first session, okay? So Peter, I know you said it looks a little bit blurry for you in a minute, so hopefully that will improve for you. And if not, like I said, I'm recording this in high def as well, so we will deal with that, all right? All right, so the first thing is the melody, right? Making sure that you have the melody of the song together, all right? Yeah, so someone else saying blurred as well. So not sure why, just... yeah, that is a weird thing, because I tested this thing twice today. Okay, all well here for you, Michelle. All right, well, great. Well, hopefully it will improve for the rest of you. All right, so anyway, like I said, I have a high def. We'll see how the recording looks. If the recording looks blurry, then I'll fix that. And by the way, if this recording is blurry, I'm going to keep this on YouTube. Just look in the comment section or the description section, and I'll put a link to the higher def resolution. All right, let's move on because we got a lot to cover. And honestly, even if you can't see it 100%, listen to what I'm saying, and then you can go ahead and you can grab that higher def video later. All right, so with the melody, you want to make sure that you have down the melody of the song. All right, I'm not going to go ahead and play the song. We're using the Vernon Duke Gershwin tune, I Can't Get Started Without You. So basically, make sure that you know the melody of the tune. All right. The next thing is being able to play the melody along with the chord shells. We talked about that. Right? Either a root 7 chord shell or a root 3 chord shell. That's the next step. You want to make sure that you can at least get down that basic arrangement. Right? From there, then we started to break this up into larger, or what I call split chords. Right? So that's where I start to add in like the third underneath the chord. Or if I'm playing a root 3 down here, I'll add the 7th there. So adding in those 4-note or 3-note voicing and melodies, but you basically have 4 notes going on, right? And those 4 notes going on creates a much larger sound. From there, then we move into fills, and we talked about some different ideas for fills, right? So even, right? Might be some scalar stuff. You might just arpeggiate or play around with the chord tones like this kind of stuff. Right, you can kind of break up the chord tones with the shells and the 3rd or 7th in the right hand, right? So it's just taking what you already have and kind of breaking it up, or adding in some double chromatics, some grace notes in there, just kind of playing around with that melody a little bit, just to add a little bit of a flair to it. All right, so now let's move on to some more advanced topics. All right, the first one that we're going to talk about is our rootless chords. Now, many of you have already been through Standards by the Dozen. You've been through my Rootless Chords workshop. You know about rootless chords. You know the power of rootless chords. Rootless chords, a lot of times, we think are just in group playing, but in reality, we could also do it in solo playing as well. And we need to know it for solo playing because as soon as you start to get to the root stomp and kind of a stride feel, we want to make sure that we know those rootless chords, and we're going to cover that today. All right, so a rootless chord, for those of you who do not know that, is basically a chord that doesn't have the root, and we replace the root with a tension. So here's C major 7th. Rather than playing the C major 7th like that, we play it instead like this, with the 3rd on the bottom, the 5th, the 7th, and then we go up to the 9th. And there's an A form, there's a B form. I talk about that in that rootless chord workshop, and if you happen to be checking out the test videos today, I was doing the rootless chords blueprints, which is going to be available on Jazzedge Academy as well. All right, so rootless chords, let's take a look at what that looks like along with some music here. And let's move over to this view, a little bit bigger, and that might also help out with the blurry issue. All right, actually I'll do this though. I'm going to have to make this just a little bit smaller so we can see all the music. All right, so this is what that sounds like. Now you might say, well, wait a second, I'm missing that root motion. Yeah, sure, you are missing that root motion. But if I were to put on something like iReal Pro here, now this iReal Pro track has some different changes in it, but at least it'll be good enough for the first couple of measures, just so you can hear what this sounds like. So you can hear the changes were a little bit off there because this one is a little bit different. The progression is a little bit different. All right, but the point is you could hear, at least in that first part, let me play that one more time for you. I mean, that's a gorgeous sound, right? That's a absolutely beautiful sound, and that is what you get with your rootless chords, especially when playing with a bass player. So real nice sound, really important to know those rootless chords. So I'm not going to get into talking about each one of these rootless chords and how to form them. I have lessons on all of that. So I'm just going to like play it for you and give you a couple of pointers on this. So when we get to the E7 chord, you'll notice that on this E7 chord, right over here, I ended up changing this chord to an E7 with a, let me move to the other, with a flat 9, flat 13, right? Let's make this a little bit bigger again. Move that over. See, can we go even? Yeah, why not? All right, so here I made it with a flat 9 and a flat 13, rather than just plain old E7. So if you look at the real book, it just says E7. But this is where you got to kind of use your ears and kind of know that, well, wait a second, E7 in the key of C major, it's really going to take these notes outside, right? D flat and G flat. Those are probably as far outside of the key of C that you can get. So with the C and the F, obviously that's much more in the key. And then also when you have a dominant chord moving to a minor like that, a lot of times that as well will signify a flat 9, flat 13. Anyway, I'm playing flat 9, flat 13 to kind of soften that blow, right? Whereas if I did... Now if you played the regular E7, it's not going to be the end of the world. It might just sound a little bit more tense. But I got my flat 9, my flat 13 in there. This is the beauty and power of those rootless chords. Once you understand your basic rootless chord here of like E7, oh, if you want to throw in flat 9, we'll just flat the 9. You want to put in flat 13? Flat the 13. You want to do natural 9 and flat 13? You know, you want to do sharp 9 and flat 13, right? You got those different tensions there that you can play around with. Kelly, you're absolutely right. It sounds awesome, doesn't it? Those voicings, just beautiful. All right, so E7, flat 9, flat 13. And by the way, I don't know if you guys picked up on this. I rewrote the melody to be more rhythmically the way that I would play it. All right, the way it's written in the real book, in my opinion, is a little bit wonky. That's not the way I would want to sing it or hear a singer sing it. So I kind of tweaked the rhythm and the melody a little bit to be more in line with the way that I've heard it and the way that I would play it. So anyway, but this is up to you. Remember, When we're dealing with jazz stuff, I mean, you could change the rhythm of that melody however you want, as long as it's within the box, right? You know, you want to make sure it still sounds like the song and you're doing justice to the tune. All right, E7 flat 9, flat 13, then D7. And now check out this right here. Let's blow this up a bit, okay? And let's really focus in on this. Whoops, 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 whoops. I don't want to do that. Let's see, can I get where's my, I guess that's not working for some reason. All right, well, anyway, right in here, notice I got the G7 sus4, right? Now here, like, this is going to hold out for a quarter note. It's not going to hold out for a quarter note. I'm not going to hold all of those notes out for a quarter note. Why? Because when I go to D7, right, and I hit this chord, what am I going to do? Like hit that, how am I going to hit that C if these fingers are here? So I got to learn to kind of move my fingers out of the way. So you see how so this is really like an eighth note here. But rather than writing this as an eighth note and having an eighth rest, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to read, right? So just kind of put that in like this. But in reality, it's this, and then there's an eighth rest there, okay? So, but the reason I don't like writing it that way is because I really want you to hold down those other notes. Just get your finger out of the way, all right? So I'm going to change that because I'm going to show you later how you can get this music, and I want that music to be right for you. So now notice what I did here on the G7, right? The melody right here, guess what? That's the 13th of the chord, right? So I'm not going to play it with both fingers, right? So I only play the bottom three notes of the chord. Remember, when you're playing those rootless chords, you don't have to play every single note of the chord. You can leave out some of those notes of the chord. All right, so anyway, beautiful sound just with these rootless voicings, okay? But the challenge that we've already established is if I play just the rootless voicings, again, it sounds like this. Right? Great, but it sounds a little bit thin, right? We don't have any of our root motion. So this is where we then bring in this rootless chords with the root stomp, right? This is just something I call it a root stomp. Some other people might call it that as well, but that's what I call it. This is kind of like a la stride-like, aka stride-like, okay? It's not a real necessarily a stride piano, but it gives it that stride feel. So basically all that we're doing here in this root stomp is we're playing the rootless chord after we first hit a root. So we hit root, then rootless chord, root, then rootless chord, root, then rootless chord, root, then rootless chord, root, then rootless chord. Ooh, I gotta fix something right here. This should not be, that should be a G sharp, okay? All right, then root. Now the beauty with this one is that now I don't need that iReal Pro track, right? The iReal Pro track now is unnecessary because I could play this whole arrangement all by my lonesome, right? BRB asks, hope you'll be sharing the sheet music and iReal Pro track with us. Guess what? I'm going to show you at a little bit, well, actually, you know, why don't I do this right now for you? I can show you this now. Right? This is where you can go ahead and you can put in your name and email address, and then everyone on that list I'm going to send the sheet music to. So even if you're an Academy member, make sure you go there because that's where I'm going to send the sheet music. Because this webinar, I'm not sure where it's going to live on the Academy just yet, if it's even going to live on the Academy. It might not live on the Academy, okay? So anyway, but the point is, if you want the sheet music, that's where you should go, all right? Don't worry, I will show that again. I'm going to take it off the screen for right now so that we have the full real estate. All right, so now listen to what this sounds like along with this root stomp. I mean, that's a gorgeous sound, right? I mean, you can stop right there. You really don't need anything else. That's a beautiful sound, real just kind of relaxed, chill, beautiful sound on this tune, right? And all I'm doing is playing the melody with the right hand. I didn't add any extra notes to the melody, right? And all I'm doing is just the root stomp in the left hand. Now, obviously, you need to make sure that you know the rootless chords, right? Now, don't worry, I got a blueprint on that. I got lessons on all of that. So all of that is in Jazzedge Academy. I have a whole rootless chords workshop that you can go through and learn all of your rootless chords, right? So you got to know your rootless chords, and you got to feel comfortable moving back and forth like that, and that does take time to get there. But once you get there, you'll notice that, wow, you can get some really cool sounds like this. Same thing again here, right? On that A minor 7, right? You got to make sure that you get that thumb out of the way with that C. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to even take off the C on the top note. I would just do this. Just get rid of the C. I'm sorry, not the C, the E. So. And you can do the same thing here. You can get rid of that E right there because it's getting close to the melody, but it's fine as well. The only reason I'd say maybe get rid of the E is because you just played the E, so you're going to hit E, right? So I'm going to ditch that E up there as well, right? So you see how sometimes I'll tweak some of those chords. Like sometimes it's not always going to be that same full 4-note voicing, all right? And then for Joan, okay, I know you said the video is blurry. Don't worry, we're going to upload a higher definition resolution to this video, so be sure to come back to the page, look at the video description, right, on YouTube or on Facebook, and I'm going to put a higher def version of this video up online. In fact, you know what? I'm going to send that link out to everyone who fills out the sheet music. Right, so if you want the higher definition video, all right, and the link to that, be sure to download the sheet music, right, by following this link right below. Just go to jazzedge.academy/music, put in your name and email address there, and I'll send you the sheet music, and I will also send you the link to the higher definition video of this, right? All right, so moving on. All right, now, so great sound on that. If you got questions on that, like I said, I'll be answering questions at the end of the session. Okay, so now this is where it really starts to get fun. Reharmonization and advanced voicings. Okay, so like I said, there's a couple of places that we could stop with our arrangements, right? When we do our chord shells, so those are chord shells with the split voicings, right, the other note underneath. We could stop right there, all right? So if we're at the level in which, okay, that took a few weeks for me to get that down right there, then I suggest stop there. Where a lot of students make a mistake is they want to keep going to the more advanced stuff. I say stop at that level, get a couple more songs under your belt so that you kind of get used to that shells or the split voicings, right? The thumb underneath with another note, right? Get used to that first, get that skill up before you move on. Unfortunately, some students don't listen to me, right? They just want to move on, and then what happens is, tell me if this sounds like anyone out there, you work really, really, really hard on an arrangement, right? Because you're like really stretching and learning all these new advanced concepts, and then guess what? You don't play that arrangement for a couple of weeks, you come back to it, and poof, it's gone, right? And the reason that poof, it's gone is because you don't really know the material. Sorry to say, right? You got to really kind of understand the theory behind the material, the analysis of it. Because if you don't understand that, you're just kind of reading the notes, then you're always bound to the page. You're always bound to like the video or the teacher or the instructor, right? You want to own this material. So what you got to do is you're going to make sure that you kind of layer your learning. So there are certain places that I would say just stop and sit and live in that space for a little while. But hey, we're adults. You do whatever you want, right? Listen to me, not listen to me. I'm telling you what works, okay? So that's what works. You kind of level there. So that's one level right there. Just doing the shells with the other note underneath, okay? That's a great level to live with. Another great level to live with is that root stomp with the rootless voicings. Right? I mean, you can live right there, and that sounds perfectly great, just playing that root stomp. You know, you don't have to move on to this next reharmonization and advanced voicings. So kind of live in that space for a little while to kind of get that down to at least 80%. All right, now with that said, now let's move on to these more advanced voicings. All right, so let me play it for you, and then we'll break it down. In fact, this is what I'll do. I'll put this over here. Yeah, we can just see that. All right, here we go. Oops. I mean, that's, I love this sound. Beautiful sound here, right? I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous sound, in my opinion, right? You tell me what you think, all right? But I think that that's an absolutely gorgeous sound. Let's break down what it is we're doing here. So let's move this over. Let's make this just a tad bigger. All right, so in the beginning here, we have the root stomp, right? So root, stop, stomp, right? And now here, what am I doing? Here, basically, I'm doing one of those split voicings, right? Root 7 in the left hand, third and melody, and all I did was I added in the fifth. Big deal, right? No big deal, right? If I wanted to add a little kick, a little tension there, maybe add that 11 in there, right? That's kind of sounds nice. I could even maybe add a little bite by adding the ninth down there, right? You kind of play around with that, right? But here we go. Now what do I have here? E flat 7. That is a tritone substitution that leads me right into D minor 7. This D minor 7 voicing, love the voicing. Has the 9, the 11 on there, real nice sounding voicing. Then I go to A flat 7, another tritone substitution, but here I'm adding in the sharp 11, a little bit of a kick, right? That tension. And then here I went to a G7. It's actually a G7. I should fix this. This is really a G7 sus 4, and then it resolves, oops, not there, resolves to a G7 right here, all right? So let's save that just to make sure we don't have any mess up. Let's also move that over a little bit. Okay, so again from the top. Tritone substitution, A flat 7, G7 sus, then G7 rootless voicing. We gotta fix this bad boy right here, right? That should be a G sharp, so we're a little bit more accurate. E7, flat 9, and now check this out. This is a gorgeous section. I love this section in here. Let's talk a lot more about what's going on in this section, and let's really make this bigger so you can really see this. All right, so we have the E7 flat 9, flat 13, right? Then we go to the A minor 7. Check it out like this. So you see what I'm doing here? So I have that melody note of C, and I'm just coming down with what? Notes of my A minor 7. Some fancy, like crazy to understand A minor 7 chord, right? No, it's just an A minor 7 block chord. Remember the notes of an A minor 7 block chord. A, C, E, G. Remember those notes. So where are they here? A, C, E, G. Now what about when I come down here? Well, you can see A, C, E, G. So all I'm doing is playing an inversion, basically, of that A minor. I'm taking my melody note, C, and then G, and I'm voicing an A minor 7 chord down from there. But now you're saying, wait a second, Willie, but that's not really what you're playing. You're right. What I'm doing is I'm doing a drop 2 voicing on this. Now, drop 2, oh my goodness, we can like get into a whole thing on that. Don't worry, we got plenty of lessons on the site for drop 2. Take a search for drop 2, and you'll find a bunch of lessons on drop 2 voicings. All drop 2 means is I take the second note from the top, right? So if this is the top, remember high, low, right? The highest note, the second note down. Well, if I count them, 1, 2, all right? That's obviously my second note down. I take that note and I go down 1 octave. All I'm doing is just changing it 1 octave. So it's here, and same thing here. Second note from the top, bring that down here. So it's this. Then I go to my E flat 7, and this is really an E flat 7 with sharp 11, which I'll fix in just 1 second. That sharp 11, and then I go to, and you can add a little bit of a roll to that. Right, that real nice sound. This isn't the next chord, but it's kind of cool. Right, beautiful sound, beautiful motion going on there. Let's fix that chord and add in a sharp 11. All right, so let's go from here. Let's do this. So we have. And again, oops. Actually, I even left out the F sharp, but let me put the F sharp in. And then here I did the G7 sus4. And then this is really resolving again to G7. So let me add in G7 there. Okay. So let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's do that whole line. I'll do the pickup there, getting into it. Whoops. There we go. Let's do that again. You see it? A little double chromatic there just adds a little bit of a flair to it. All right, beautiful sound, and it's not really changing too much, right? Again, let's talk about what I did here. I added in that E flat 7. This is what we call a tritone substitution. I'm not going to get into a big deep dive on tritone substitution. I have done this many times in the past on webinars, and the reality is I've taught so many lessons between me, between Paul, between all of my other teachers. Go to Jazzedge Academy. You can learn all about tritone substitutions. Basically, I'm going to give you an easy way of thinking about a tritone substitution. Go to whatever your target chord is. My target chord is D minor. Go up a half step and make a dominant 7th chord. Boom, done, right? If you want to learn more about the tritone substitutions, dive into the Academy and take a look at those lessons, all right? But any chord I'm trying to approach, all I do is I go up a half step and make a dominant 7th chord. That's it, right? So if that's all you remember, that's all you need. So if I want to get to A7, B flat 7 to A. I want to get to D, E flat 7 to D. I want to get to C, D flat 7 to C. I want to get to G, A flat 7 to G, right? Just a half step up and then resolve on down. And you can see it's exactly what's going on right here. A flat 7, sharp 11, resolving down to G. E flat 7, sharp 11, resolving down to D. Hey, Willie, do I have to add that sharp 11 on all of these tritone substitutions? No, you don't, but sometimes it sounds nice. I personally like that sharp 11 sound. The other thing to consider is, let's say when I'm going to that A flat 7, what if I do this? Right? Again, remember, more notes are outside of the key, right? The only note that's inside the key right now is C. Whereas when I do that D, it creates 2 notes now that are inside the key. So I get a little bit more of the mix inside of the key of C. See, I go to D flat 7 and then resolve down to C. Right? So there's just so many cool and interesting things that you can do with the reharmonization. This is a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be doing in my new reboot of Standards by the Dozen. And if you haven't heard about that, I'm going to be rebooting Standards by the Dozen. I'm going to be teaching the Standards by the Dozen. It's going to be starting in like June or July. And it is going to be a class. It's not going to be a lesson. It's going to be a class. So you're going to have to make sure you have at least access to classes at Jazzedge Academy. I'll talk about that in a second. But with this, we're going to kind of a little bit more quickly move through some of those beginner steps, right? You know, the melody, the shells, the rootless chords, because, you know, I've already done 12 of those lessons, so you can go through those and understand the rootless chords. I'm still going to talk about all of that stuff, but we're just not going to spend as much time on that, right? We're going to kind of try and get to some of this kind of stuff where we do some of the reharmonization, the drop 2 voicings, the root stomp, that kind of stuff. And it's really going to be this rendition of Standards by the Dozen is going to really be more for solo piano, cocktail piano, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of those slow ballads, right? That's really, I've sent out a form. It's predominantly like by 3 to 1. Students are looking for those slow ballads versus like fast kind of tunes and that kind of stuff. Some students have asked for other styles, but to be honest with you, most students want the jazz slow ballads. And I'm going to wait until the survey is completely over tomorrow to see, but that's what we're going to be doing. And don't worry, if you're interested in that Standards by the Dozen reboot, I'm also going to be sending out a survey, a form, in which you can choose which standards you're interested in. So I'm going to give you a list of standards, or maybe take some standards from students. I don't know, something like that. We'll figure that out. But I'm going to allow you to vote on which standards are going to be in the new program. All right, so moving on. Now, we're going to do Q&A, but before we get into the Q&A, there's a couple of things that I want to cover first. All right, so first of all, let me explain the different sites where you can study with me. Over the years, I've done many different sites. Some of you know cocktail piano lessons, funk piano lessons, jazz piano lessons, homeschool piano, you know, Standards by, you know, all these different sites that I've had. And it's, and I've done that for a specific reason. Because when I first started teaching online, students were looking for specific things. And having everything under one roof became too confusing for students. So I made these separate sub-sites so that number 1, it would be focused for students, and number 2, I could charge less. Because when I have all of my lessons there, I can't charge a low rate because that's all of my lifelong content. This is everything that I've been working on for 20 years. I can't just charge $2 for it, right? It's like I gotta make sure that I'm paid for the work that I've done on all of this material. So I had all these other sites, but then I've reduced them down into now 3 sites. And I just want to go through quickly what these 3 sites are, and these 3 sites and the differences of them and why you might choose one over the other. All right, so the first site is Jazzedge Academy. That's jazzedge.academy. This is my main site. This is where this is where like most of my material is. The only material that's not on Jazzedge Academy is the homeschool piano material, which I'll talk about in a second. You could read this here. It's great for all levels of player, including absolute beginners. It's pretty much every style of music that you can imagine: jazz, blues, funk, rock, gospel, classical. There's just so many different styles of music that you can find. There's even reggae stuff inside of the site as well. All right. It also features my Jazzedge practice curriculum. In the Jazzedge practice curriculum, students have loved that because it's a step-by-step approach to learning all of your foundational material. So you really make sure that you know all of your foundations with the Jazzedge practice curriculum. You learn all of your chords, your scales, all the stuff that you really need to know to be a good technical player, and it's all laid out for you step by step right on your dashboard. There are different membership levels, right? So you can get a lessons only membership, you can get a lessons with classes, lessons with coaching, or you can get all three: lessons, classes, and coaching. So I divided it up so that it gives students options, right? Lessons are always part of every membership, though, because quite frankly, if you don't have access to the lessons, then you're missing out on a lot, right? And we are always kind of referring back to, well, check out this lesson or that lesson. So you got to make sure you have access to the lessons. So the lessons access only starts as low as $39 a month, right? And then you can sign up for a year, and that ends up being $29 a month. It's paid for the year, though. All right, it's paid $351. It works out to really $29.25 per month, but I reduce it down to $29 for easy numbers. All right, you can access via a membership, so you could access the lessons via a membership, or you could use Academy credits. And Academy credits, there's more information on the site on Academy credits, but in a nutshell, Academy credits are basically a pay-as-you-go system. So that means you can get one credit and you can download a full lesson. That means all chapters of a lesson. And remember, some of these lessons are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours long. You could pay $20 and access that entire lesson, all the sheet music, and you own it for life, right? You can also access any class. That means being able to access like my Standards by the Dozen reboot class. If you want to join in on one of those classes, you could pay $20. You could join in on the class. Oh, I can't join the class live? Don't worry. You also get access to the replay and all of the resources for that particular class. So you got a lot of different options right there with Jazzedge Academy. The next one is Jazz Piano Lessons. This is my budget site, right? And I have it in quotes, right? Because it's really just designed for the more budget-minded student, right? $39 a month might be too much for students. With jazzpianolessons.com, you can get it as low as $20 a month or $200 for the year. The year payment is a one-time payment. It does not auto-renew, right? So it's great, again, for all levels of player, including beginners. It gives you access to some of my most popular courses: Piano Essentials, Chord Essentials, The Confident Improviser, the first 8 of Standards by the Dozen, and the first 8 of Piano Accompaniment Essentials. So those 5 courses, you get access to a lot of that material. It focuses mostly on jazz, but there's a little bit of blues and rock, but it's mostly jazz, hence the name, Jazz Piano Lessons. And it's a very structured site: level 1, level 2, level 3, okay? And the content is set. No new content is added to this. And it's important to remember that all of this content on Jazz Piano Lessons is also found on Jazzedge Academy. Right? So if you're an Academy member, there's absolutely no reason why you would want to join Jazz Piano Lessons, right? And in fact, that structure from jazzpianolessons.com is going to show up on the Academy exactly as it is in Jazz Piano Lessons. I created a nice page with all the links, right, to the 3 different levels. So you're going to see that in the Academy success over at Jazzedge Academy in the next few days. And then this is the lowest cost site that I have, and also the only one that has a lifetime membership, right? Some students think, oh, Jazzedge Academy, where's the lifetime membership? There is no lifetime membership to Jazzedge Academy. There will never be a lifetime membership to Jazzedge Academy. I would have to charge you thousands of dollars for a lifetime membership, because there's over 1,000 hours and over 1,000 lessons on Jazzedge Academy. Way too much content for me to be able to sell for just a couple $100, right? But Jazz Piano Lessons is a smaller subset of those Academy lessons. So those I can sell to you for a lifetime membership. So if you don't like subscriptions, and you want to have access to something for lifetime and just go at your own pace, then that option is available to you. And the third site is Homeschool Piano. Now, this is my site for absolute beginners. So most of the time, this is more for younger students. You know, it's designed for families. It's designed for absolute beginners. You don't have to be a kid to use it. It's great for adults as well. But it's really designed, again, for that absolute beginner. Like literally, I just got a keyboard and I'm taking it out of the box and I have no idea that that note is a C, right? So it goes through the core piano. There's 3 different levels and it's extremely structured. Designed specifically for absolute beginners. You learn how to read music. You learn how to improvise. There's ear training in there, chord work, theory. It's a lot of great structured work, all right? It's 3 levels. There's quizzes, certificates. It's a content set site as well. There's no new content. Just like jazz piano lessons, there's no new content that's coming onto Homeschool Piano. The content is set, all right? And there are multi-user options. So if you had a family with 2 or 3 students in the household that you wanted to track each student, then that's the site where you can do that, all right? It's the best, quote, feeder site if you're brand new to the piano, because you could start there and be there for a couple of months before you go to either Jazz Piano Lessons or Jazzedge Academy, all right? So that's my 3 sites. That's it. I'm not adding any new sites. Those are the 3 sites that are going to be around for the foreseeable future. Jazzedge Academy, Jazz Piano Lessons, and Homeschool Piano. The website addresses, I should have put it on here, but it's jazzedge.academy. This one is jazzpianolessons.com, and you guessed it, homeschoolpiano.com. All right, now, I'm running a special right now. All right, let me tell you about that quickly, and then we'll get to the questions. So the special is only going on for the next day and an hour, all right? So it's going to expire tomorrow. You can get 1 year of lessons, all right? It's hard to read, so I'm just going to tell it to you. It's $351 for the year of lessons, all right? That is exactly the same price that was there yesterday, and it's exactly the same price that's going to be there 2 weeks from now. Something very important that you all need to understand is that I am not discounting membership prices at all, ever again. I'm not doing it, all right? I don't like it when I see a subscription to something and then I go 2 weeks later and it's $2, $3, $4, $10 less, all right? Now, you should also know that I don't raise subscription prices on students either. You get in for that level, all right? The other change that I've made is all new year-long subscriptions do not recur. The only subscriptions that recur are monthly subscriptions. So that means if you sign up for a year, you pay for 1 year. This is 1 year of lessons for $351. Hey, Willie, at the end of the year, can I sign up for the same price? Yes, because I am not changing this pricing. So at the end of the year, you could just sign up again. But the beauty of this is that this way, you don't get hit with a $351 bill next year. Maybe you kind of got off of the piano, right? And you weren't practicing for a couple of months and you completely forgot about it. And now your credit card just got whacked for $351 or more, depending on the membership that you got, right? I don't want to do that to students. It leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They ask in, they write in, they get, they're complaining and whatnot. It's like, it just creates a bad vibe, all right? So I don't want any of those bad vibes between you and I. So the year-long memberships, they bill once, you get 1 year worth of access. And if you want to continue after that, great, I'd love to have you, then go ahead and sign up again. So then the question is, well, what the heck is this sale then, right? I should probably say promotion, because that's really more what it is. You're getting, with this promotion, you're getting 3 free Academy credits. Now, again, I don't discount those either. That is legitimately a $60 value right there. So with those 3 credits, you can get lifetime access to any lesson. So that means after your year is up, well, great. Then you can go ahead and keep those 3 lessons. You can also get access to 3 classes. Because remember, this is a lessons-only access. Remember, in Jazzedge Academy, there's 3 different levels. There's lessons, there's classes, and there's coaching. Okay, and then I divided those up because not everybody needs or wants all 3 of those, right? So rather than having memberships that include all 3 of those and me having to charge you for that, because the reality is I pay my teachers. My teachers are great. They love working with all of you guys, but I got to pay them, right? And that means that if you're not interested in coaching, you still have to pay for it because I need to make sure that they're paid, right? So now I've separated it out so you get to choose exactly what it is that you want. And by the way, if you didn't already notice this, in the Academy, you can upgrade and downgrade your membership all on your own. There's a link right in your account area to do that. All right, so the main promotion of this is you get 1 year of lessons and you get 3 free Academy credits, right? They go to your account after 31 days, and I'm going to be quite frank with you and honest with you right on camera. The reason I do that is because people get the membership and then they use the Academy credits and then they want a refund within the 30 days. So if you want to write into me, if you purchase this, you're going to get an email. If you purchase this, you would get an email and it's going to explain that to you, but you could always reply to that email and say, hey, look, I'm not going to refund within the first 30 days, so please give me the credits, and I'll be happy to add them to your account. All right. The other option is a 90 days of lesson. This is a one-time bill as well. So if you want to try the site for 90 days, you can go ahead and try the site for 90 days, and it's $99, and I'm also throwing in a free Academy credit. So that's a $20 value right there for that Academy credit, and you're getting the 3 months worth of lessons, right? So this really is kind of a sale and a promotion with this, with the lessons only, all right, for 90 days, right? Now, if you want to go to Jazz Piano Lessons, and remember, this is a separate site. This is a different site, Jazz Piano Lessons, right? You can get lifetime access to Jazz Piano Lessons. It's $4.99, so basically $500, and that gives you lifetime access. You pay once, you're never billed again. You have lifetime access to Jazz Piano Lessons. You can look at the video, you can go to the site, you can see all of the material that you have on Jazz Piano Lessons. The other big thing to notice here is that you get 3 free Academy credits as well. Another $60 value right there, okay? So, all pretty straightforward. If you have questions, go ahead and write in, or I'm going to be answering your questions in less than 60 seconds. I just want to remind you all that if you're looking for a lower price, or you're looking for like, oh, there's going to be a sale, or I'm going to wait till Black Friday, that's not going to come. The only thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be throwing in some Academy credits or little perks here and there, right? But in terms of like the base membership price, I am not altering that base membership price anymore in the future, right? So you get in and you get it at that price, and you can feel comfortable that if you want to pause your membership and you want to come back, well, guess what? You can come back at that same price. I'm not messing around with these membership prices anymore because I really feel like we're in a good spot right now with these 3 different levels. If Jazzedge Academy is too much for you, then I suggest that you take a look at jazzpianolessons.com. If $20 a month for piano lessons is too much for you, then I suggest that you take a look at my YouTube videos that you can get for free, or you take a look at my Udemy channel, and you can just do a search for my name or Jazzedge over at Udemy, and that's where you can get some real budget courses. But you need to understand that I do not provide any support on Udemy. It's like, that's all on its own. I put stuff up there, you buy it, whatever, but if you're looking for support, I don't provide any support on that site, right? I don't respond to comments and stuff like that, right? So, and then I just have a few courses on there, right? So, and they're all like kind of older stuff anyway. All right, so anyway, that's that. All right, so now, your questions. All right, so let's see here. Let's start up from the top. All right, so first of all, in terms of getting the music, let's do this right now. If you want the music, go ahead and put in your name and email address at that link, right? jazzedge.academy/music. All right, if you're looking at the replay, you might not see that on the screen. So the music is at, well, you know, I could do this here. I'll just write it in, jazzedge.academy/music. All right, so you want to go there, put in your name and email address, and then I'm going to send out the music probably about within an hour after this session is done. All right, so just be sure to check that. Let's see. Jude, thank you so much. In-depth learning here. I appreciate that, Jude. Thank you from Francia, sound beautiful at least. Very important stuff. We keep learning. All right. Michelle, absolutely. Just beautiful. All right. Love it. Kelly, love this. Can't wait to try this song. Yeah, Michelle, yes, me too. Michelle, can't wait for that new class. All right. So, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Is it Chong or Chong? How much time by the dozen will take daily hours on it? Okay, so it really depends on the player, right? It depends on your skill level, depends on basically how good you want to get. So rather than saying how much time you're going to need to spend on that particular lesson, instead let me reframe it and say, how much time should you be practicing, right? To like really make some gains. First of all, if you could practice a little bit every day, that's going to be better than practicing a lot on one day and then taking 4, 5, 6, 7 days off, right? So believe it or not, even practicing 5 minutes, and I'm serious when I say literally 5 minutes, because if you sit down and you're doing a couple of, all right, a little bit of technical stuff, and then you're like, oh, let me get that drop 2 thing together. Right? You're just practicing those little things 5 minutes. Believe it or not, that's going to be better than practicing 2 hours on Sunday and not again to the following Sunday. The reason for that is that you are activating the brain in music, right? You're activating and creating pathways because you're constantly getting to it every single day. Now, obviously, 5 minutes is not a lot of time, right? If you could practice for 15 minutes, that's going to be better than 5. 30 is going to be better than 15, and 45, and so on from there. Typically, if you could do a half hour, 5 to 6 days a week, you're going to start to see some real good progress. All right? You don't have to think that you have to be practicing an hour, 2, 3 hours a day. All right? It's very much like exercise. You know, I enjoy going to the gym and exercising. If you did 4 days a week, 30 minutes of weight training or cardio or whatever your goals are, that's going to be pretty darn good. You're going to stay in some pretty good shape there with 4 days a week at 30 minutes. You do 5 days a week at 30 minutes, 3 days maybe weight training, 2 days cardio, that's going to be pretty darn good. Now, obviously, if you could bump that up to 45 minutes, it's only going to increase and get better. All right. Kelly, can I change my mind after I voted in the poll? I thought too many classes would overwhelm me, but I think I can handle this new standards by the dozen in music theory. No, you can't change your vote, but quite frankly, it's not that important because standards by the dozen is going to run. There's more than enough in the poll. There's more than enough students that have said that they would be interested in the new standards by the dozen. So that's definitely going to run. And as far as the music theory, that's definitely going to be running in the fall. Whether or not it's going to run in the summer, not sure. There's kind of a little bit of a horse race going on right now between the pop rock class and Nina's jazz piano class. So so those are really kind of you know, the ones that are more at the forefront. So I'm not sure if music theory is going to take it over at this point or not. Right? For classes, would Paul's jazz history program be one class, or would each episode be a separate class? And will all episodes of a single standards by the dozen song, including the live sections, be a single class? Okay, great question. All right, so classes are literally a class, right? So meaning, like, imagine you went to a college or a school. Obviously, with jazz history, it's not going to be all in one class, right? It's not going to be like an 8-hour class, right? You're going to go 1 hour a week, maybe for 8 weeks. So every session is considered a class, right? All of the classes together would be considered more like a course, right? And those courses might go for a semester or so, right? But each individual class, each class time that's listed, you know, like June 1st, June 7th, June 14th, each one of those is a separate class, right? As far as standards by the dozen goes, the way that that's going to be structured is I'm going to have either it's gonna be recorded or I might actually even teach it live. I'm not sure yet. All right, so it might be recorded and kind of streamed out live, but I'm going to give you material in 1 week, and then the next week we're going to have a live session in which we talk about that material, right? And then you can submit videos for feedback. It's kind of like think of it like a coaching thing, but I'm going to like kind of dive into the material that I gave you the week prior and give you an opportunity to sit with me live, ask me questions, pick my brain, so that you can have a week to practice that material, right? And then the following week, you're going to be able to get together live with me. If you can't get together live with me, don't worry. You'll be able to submit a video as well if the time zones don't work, right? So, so you could think of it like class coaching, but it's all going to be under the Standards by the Dozen new reboot, right? So it's not going to be a coaching. You're not going to need a coaching membership. It's still going to be a class, right? So you're going to have 1 week of I present something to you. The next week we talk about that. The next week after that I present something new to you. And then the next week after that we talk about it. And it's probably going to take us 2 to 3 weeks before we get through a song, and then maybe we're going to talk about the improvisation. I'm going to be bringing in the confident improviser in there. So we're probably going to be sticking on one song for anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, right? The reason I'm doing it this way is that I want you to stay invested in that tune. I want you to be able to learn that song. That's why we're going to vote on this, right? I'm not just going to pick songs that I love. I'm going to let you all vote for that. So when you see that vote, that poll come in, it's going to be really important for you to make sure you cast your vote if you want your voice to be heard, right? So I'm going to send out a poll, and whatever song comes up at top, that's the one that we're going to do first. And then the next one and the next one after that, right? So we're going to focus on that first song. Let's say it's I Can't Get Started Without You, right? Just as an example. We're probably not going to do this tune, but who knows, maybe. So what we would do is I'm going to start by, okay, we might go through and let's do all the basics first. So let's do the melody with the root, let's do the shells, let's do the rootless voicings, and maybe even the root stomp, right? Well, we might not do that at first, but like maybe up to the rootless voicings. You should be able to get that down maybe in about a week, because honestly, the melody with the root should only take you about a day or so to practice. Adding in the shell should only take you a couple of days, and maybe if you can't get to the rootless chords, don't worry about it. That's okay, because the next week when we're talking about it and we're getting feedback, you're still going to have that other week to practice. So really you're going to have like 2 weeks to practice that initial concept before we move on to the next concept, right? So it's going to be very structured, and then all of that feedback and all of that coaching, but again, it's not a coaching session, right? You don't need a coaching level. All you need is a classes level in order to be able to access this. That coaching aspect of it is going to be your time to be able to get your feedback, right? And to be able to ask questions, so that it's going to be very much a living class, right? So anyway, Jude, can we see the chat after Willie is finished? Nope, you will not be able to see that. Trong, will the $500 lifetime go away after tomorrow? No. Again, I'm not changing those pricing. So that $500, $499 jazz piano lessons, they'll be there tomorrow. They'll be a week from now, 2 weeks from now. But you end up losing those 3 Academy credits. So really, those Academy credits are kind of nice, because then you can jump over to Jazzedge Academy and grab 3 lessons, 3 classes. So that's kind of a nice perk to have. So what you'll lose is you'll lose the perks, okay? And then that's where we're going to be going moving forward. I'm going to give certain perks out for signing up for memberships. So if you get in during these promotions, you can get those perks. If you wait until that timer goes away, the perks are gone, all right? So then you'll sign up for the $4.99 a week from now, but you don't get the 3 Academy credits, all right? From Lala, hi Teacher Willie, is there any coaching for HSP students in the future? No, actually HSP coaching is gone away. The last one I think was what we just did in May, right? So homeschool piano is not doing coaching anymore. Quite frankly, there just wasn't enough interest in the homeschool piano curriculum and program of students there. I think you were the only homeschool piano student that showed up for coaching. So, and then also based on that price point, can't offer coaching, right? So the numbers all have to work, right? And I know all of you understand that. You know that the numbers have to work because teachers, myself, no one can work for free, right? Because we all got families and lives as well. So I'm here to serve you, but it has to work the number wise, right? And then what the homeschool piano program is, cost-wise, just does not cover the cost of coaching. So I would suggest, I believe you're already an Academy member, so you get all of your coaching right through the Academy. But the answer is no, there is no more coaching on homeschool piano. Chong, how much is Standards by the Dozen again? 1 hour session per week. When will it start? July? Yeah, it's going to start somewhere maybe end of June or into July. At this point, it might be July. The idea is that, yes, it's going to be once a week. But remember, there's going to be replays, right? So you can always go back. So if you miss, a live session, don't worry about it, or if the time zones don't work. So the question is, how much does Standards by the Dozen cost? There's no additional cost, and it's not going to be sold as an individual program. Really, it's part of the membership, right? So what you want to do is, let me just show you this real quickly here on how you get to the membership page. So if you go up to Jazzedge Academy, you click on sign up, you're going to see this Academy access options. And then this is good to read here. Like if you want to just kind of get another summary here, you can take a look at this, right? The thing to understand, and you see the Academy credits as low as $15 per credit. That's, and if you want to buy the credits, you click here to buy credits. 1 credit is $20, 5 credits is $90, 10 credits is $150, right? So the more you buy, the more you save, right? So the membership, you click there to get started. This is important to note. Sometimes students miss this. You click on that right there to go between the monthly and the 1 year, right? And you'll see the pricing right down here is changing. For 1 year, it's $351, right? If you can't read that. And then for monthly, it's $39 per month. Okay, and then you get to choose. Do you want to add coaching? Yes, I want to add coaching for an extra $30 a month. Now it's $69 per month. Do you want to add classes? Yes, I want to add that. $99 a month. Now some students get totally freaked out by that price. I encourage you to really, really think about the cost of if you were to go to private lessons and get access to all of these teachers and classes. If you really think about it, $99 a month is a steal. It's a real good deal. But I understand that not everybody is in the same financial picture, and that's totally cool. That's why I created Jazz Piano Lessons as low as $20 per month. You can go there. That's a great program, Jazz Piano Lessons, all right? Fantastic program. So you can go there and sign up or get the lifetime option. There's a lot of different options available to you. If you want to go for 1 year, you could do that. You could see the pricing for the 1 year as well. I mean, the most expensive, if you spent the most, it's $891 for the year. That gives you access to the entire Academy for 1 year. So less than $900 for the entire year. If you really think about it, again, a real good deal. I've mentioned this before. I used to teach privately, and I had a database. I could see how much students would spend. They would spend upwards of $3,000 per year for private lessons for one student, right? So it's, and then that was just me teaching them once per week. Imagine this, you get access to all those classes. You get to work with like a half dozen different teachers. You get coaching every single week. You get an access to over 1,000 lesson library. So really is a pretty darn good deal, all right? So anyway, you get that by going up to the sign up button there, and then that will give you all of that pricing information. Let's see, BRB, but with Standards by the Dozen, all those pieces would be 1 Academy credit for the given song. No. Remember, the Standards by the Dozen is going to be broken up into weeks, right? So again, you have the first week, I'm going to present maybe the song with shells, roots, shells, rootless chords, right? It's going to be probably about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes worth of material, right? There, and then that's going to be your first week of material, right? That's one class, right? That would be 1 credit. The following week is the feedback, okay? That's where I'm going to go through and I'm going to, answer questions, and then you'll be able to hear from other students. They're going to ask questions, so it's a good way of like really diving in and being able to, get a little bit more information about that material. Or if you're not an Academy member and you want to be able to get in and ask your question about it, that's a great session to be able to do that. But again, that's a credit, right? So I can't give, I can't do like an 8-10 week class. It's going to be 10 hours long for $20. I just can't do that, all right? So each one of those sessions is its own class, and it would be its own credit. Again, still a killer deal. If you were to study privately with me, you're talking $100 an hour to study privately with me, right? So, to be able to access for $20, real good deal. So there you go. Here in South Florida, my friend is getting $100 1 hour lesson for piano lessons. I didn't even see that before I even told you my pricing, right? So yeah, there you go, $100 for an hour-long lesson. So you can, I think you can understand the math there, right? So $20 for being able to get access to that. And then the other thing too is, remember, that's lifetime access, right? So if you get that first section of the song, yeah, you might say, well, it's only the first section, but you get it for life, right? So you don't have to buy anything else. If it takes you 6 months to learn that first part for $20, okay, you didn't have to pay. Do you know how many students I used to see every single week? They would come back week after week after week. And maybe some of you have done this as well. Private lessons. Hey, did you practice? No, I didn't have a chance to practice. So what did we do? We practiced in the lesson. Because I can't show you anything new until you know the stuff that you're supposed to know, right? So do you know how many people would just literally pay me to sit there and listen to them practice? So with technology now, it's just, the numbers just work out so well that it's great for you, it's great for me. I'm not sitting there listening to you practice, and then you're able to get access to this material at a reasonable rate and take as long as you want to practice this. Or if you want to move faster, well, that's available for you as well. Tron, how many credits does it take for standards by the dozen? I'm not sure. Again, one song is probably going to be, like I said, one song is going to be upwards of 4 to 8 weeks, right? It's definitely going to be more than 4 weeks, right? Because we're going to be getting into improvisation. We're going to probably get into this more reharmonization stuff. So there's probably going to be like 4 recorded lessons and then 4 live sessions. So you're probably talking about 8 sessions there, right? So 8. But you can buy the 10 Academy credits for $150, right? So $150 to have access to all of that material and then still have 2 credits left. Again, super good deal. And then again, hey, are Academy credits going to go down in price? Absolutely not. Without question, unequivocally, no. In fact, I'm even surprised that I even did the Academy credits at $20 a credit. All right? I think I was feeling generous at the time, because when you're getting lifetime access to this stuff for $20, it's a real good deal, right? I see yoga classes that it's $20 to go in for 1 yoga class, and it's over. Once it's done, it's gone. That was it, and you're in there in a group, right? So the thing to note about the credits and these classes is that, if it's going to be 4 recorded lessons and 4 kind of live Q&A sessions, you might not want to get the Q&A sessions. You might not need them, right? Maybe all you're going to need is those 4 recorded sessions, and then that might be enough for you, right? So the Academy credits, again, as a pay-as-you-go system, gives you that flexibility to be able to get what you need when you need it and when you want it, right? It's like on demand for you. Or if you just want to be like, oh man, Willie, will you stop talking about these Academy credits? Buy a membership. Done. You can access it all, right? Lala, thank you. I understand for the past 2 years coaching for Dodo and Yu, they have already passed the music class entrance exam with high scores. Beautiful. I am so proud of them. I loved working with them. Please tell them, send them tell them how proud I am of them, all right? In fact, you could show them this video. Dodo, Yu, I'm extremely proud of you. You guys have done awesome. keep going with your music. I can't wait to see what it is you come up with, and please send me videos. I would love to see what it is that you're doing. BRB. Oh yeah, no worries. Just need to clarify. Absolutely, I'm not upset by anyone asking those questions, and I'm not saying that anyone is like trying to lowball the lessons. I just want to make sure also that I'm very clear as well, that everyone understands, because a lot of times people watch these sessions and they don't really, I guess, listen, to what's going on, because I'll get the same questions. I'm like, I just answered this. Like, did you hear me say that? So sometimes it's a little bit confusing for me as well. Let's see, BRB, we can add classes at some point for a few months and then do a blitz of classes and then downgrade, can't we? Yeah, you're in complete control of what you do, right? So you could start your membership, you can end your membership. You could do, in the academy, you could sign up for lessons and classes, right? And then don't forget, this is the other cool thing, is that when you sign up for the lessons and the classes, you have access to all the classes, right? I'm talking the whole past library of classes, right? So it's not like when you sign up for lessons and classes, you're only getting access to the classes moving forward. I didn't code the site that way because I'm not going to nickel and dime you either. I want you to be able to learn. That's my goal, is that you learn the instrument, be able to play this stuff, be able to express yourself, have fun, do some stuff that you love, right? So I give you access to all of the past classes. So you might say, hey, I'm going to do lessons and classes for July, August, and September because I have those three months available to me. Great. And then come October, I got a real big thing going at work, or I'm going to be traveling or whatnot. Okay, then you can go down to lessons. Or you could just cancel your membership, right? Because guess what? When you come back, the pricing is going to be exactly the same, right? But you will lose any perks, right, on your membership, okay? So just be aware of that. And I'll end on this. It's a very fair arrangement. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So if anyone has any other questions, let me know. I'll add this as well. Lulu, congratulations for Dodo and Yu. So congratulations. Frank, thank you. All good. Great value. All right. So I appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to check out the recording and see if the resolution on the actual recording was good or not on YouTube and Facebook. If it was, then I'm just going to leave it. If you wanted to get the sheet music, be sure to go to the Jazzedge Academy /music, right? That's right here as well. Be sure to go jazzedge.academy/music. If it turns out that the resolution was low or whatnot, I'm going to be sending out that high def resolution to that link, all right, to anyone who signs up on that list, all right? So be sure to go there, put in your name and email address, and I will send you all the music that we, I'm going to show you. I'm going to send you all of this music, all right? So all the stuff that we did today, you're going to get access to all of this, all right? It will be a PDF format, and you'll be able to download that. All right, so anyway, thank you all very much. Be sure to check your email. I will be talking more about the new Standards by the Dozen reboot. And by the way, if you have the poll, right, and if you didn't vote yet for Standards by the Dozen and the classes that you want for this summer, be sure to log into your jazzedge.academy account. If you don't have a jazzedge.academy account, you just happen to be catching me online, just go up to where it says free trial and fill this in. First name, email, and choose a password. Click I'm not a robot, and you're going to get full access to the 30-day piano playbook, and you're also going to get access to the first minute of every lesson chapter. Let me talk about that real quickly, because sometimes students are a little bit frustrated or whatnot. So you get full access to the 30-day piano playbook. That's 3 different levels there, all right? 30 lessons there, full access. Watch all of the lessons, download all of the music. Right there should be more than enough for you to be able to make a decision as to whether or not you want to study with me. But then in addition to that, you can watch the first minute of every single lesson chapter. Some students get a little frustrated on that, like, oh, I want to be able to watch more. Well, then I'm going to be very frank with you. Sign up for a membership, because guess what? You have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you sign up for a monthly membership and you find that, okay, this isn't for me, right in within the first 30 days, I'll give you your money back. So you really have nothing to lose. You also get access to the first 10 minutes of every single class as well. So you could watch the first 10 minutes of every class. Again, no-brainer, right? I mean, it costs you absolutely nothing to sign up. So if you're interested in the piano, you might as well do this, right? It's not going to cost you anything. The only thing that's going to cost you is I'm going to send you some email, right? You can get off my email list at any time. Click unsubscribe, and you're off of my email list, right? So if you're interested in voting for which classes are coming up, I'm sorry. If you're interested in voting for which classes are going to run this summer, because the classes in July and August are going to go down to just 2 classes because many students are going to be away, vacation. So those are our summer months, and we just kind of make it a little bit more mellow and not so much information for students to have to be practicing and absorbing. Plus, I'm going to be coming out with that new Standards by the Dozen course anyway, Standards by the Dozen class anyway. So July and August is going to be busy with that, right? So the other classes, if you want to vote for which one of those is going to happen, well, then make sure that you go and vote. It's right on your dashboard, right? You'll see it says news, poll, click on that link, and then you can go ahead and vote for which classes you'd like to see this summer. The voting ends tomorrow, like for reals, right? It ends tomorrow. So once the voting ends, then whatever classes are at top, those are the ones that are going to run, right? I run this very much like a democracy where it's like whatever students want, that's what it is that they're going to get, right? So if you want your voice to be heard, be sure to vote, right? That's it for me. So thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you all very soon, and I'm looking forward to working with a lot of you in the new Standards by the Dozen reboot. All right, take care, everybody.